Most people are not failing because they are weak. They are failing because they are scattered. They wake up every morning with a little bit of hope and go to bed every night with a little bit of regret. Not because they didn't work hard, but because their mind went in 10 different directions in a single day. One moment they want success. The next moment they want comfort. Then approval. Then pleasure. Then escape. And slowly, silently, their life loses direction. Here is a truth most people don't want to hear. If your focus keeps shifting, your life will never move forward. You don't need a new goal every month. You don't need a new plan every week. You don't need more motivation videos. What you wise is one direction, held long enough for life to respond. Because life responds to consistency, not confusion. Look around you. Most human beings are busy all day, yet deeply unfulfilled. They run, they hustle, they consume information endlessly, but nothing truly grows. Why? Because the mind keeps changing direction. Even if their physical life looks stable. Same job, same routine, same environment. Inside, their thoughts and emotions are constantly shifting. And when the mind keeps shifting, energy doesn't know where to go. Imagine trying to build a house but changing the blueprint every hour. Nothing stands. Nothing completes. Nothing becomes solid. That is how most people live their lives. Here's something science has already confirmed, and ancient wisdom understood long before science caught up. There is no such thing as solid matter the way you think of it. Everything you call physical is just energy organized in a certain way. Your body is energy. Your mind is energy. Your life is energy. And energy follows direction. If your energy is unfocused, it leaks. If your energy is organized, it creates. That's the difference between an average life and an extraordinary one. Not talent, not luck, not intelligence, direction. Intelligence. Uri. Most people don't lack potential. They lack stability of intention. They want change, but they change their focus every time it gets uncomfortable. They want success, but they abandon the path the moment it demands sacrifice. They want results, but they cannot sit with one thing long enough for it to take root, so their energy stays restless, their mind stays noisy, and their life stays small. This is the hidden tragedy of distraction. Here's the brutal cost of losing focus. When you cannot hold one intention steadily, your inner system becomes confused. Your own life doesn't know which way to grow. It's like giving 10 commands at once and expecting perfect execution. No system works that way. Not machines, not businesses, not the human mind. And yet that's how most people treat their own existence. Let me say this clearly. Distraction is not harmless. Distraction is destructive. Every time you break focus, you break momentum. Every time you switch direction, you reset progress. Every time you chase something new, you abandon something that could have grown. And over years, this creates a life full of beginnings and no real completion. Think about it. What would happen if you held one goal, not emotionally, not obsessively, but steadily, for 5 years? Not changing direction every time doubt appears. Not quitting every time motivation fades. Not running every time boredom shows up. Just staying. Life would have no choice but to respond, because existence yields to focus. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people cannot hold their attention on one thing for any meaningful amount of time Their phone controls them. Their emotions control them. Other people's opinions control them. As a result, their energy is wasted, not used. Not because they lack time, but because they lack inner organization. And this waste is massive. The majority of human potential on this planet never becomes reality simply because focus is missing. Imagine this for a moment. If even a fraction of humanity held their mind, energy, and intention in one direction for a sustained period of time, nothing would remain unexplored. Nothing would remain unreachable. But instead, people scroll, people complain, people consume, and their lives stay exactly where they are. Here's the key realization. Focus is not about forcing the mind. Focus is about stopping unnecessary movement. When your mind stops jumping, energy starts gathering. When energy gathers, power is created. When power is sustained, results become inevitable. That's not motivation, that's mechanics. This is why discipline matters more than inspiration. Inspiration comes and goes. Focus builds. Motivation excites. Focus transforms. You don't need to feel good every day. You need to stay directed, every day. Let me leave you with this thought before we move forward. Your future is not decided by how badly you want it. It is decided by how steadily you are willing to walk toward it. Not fast, not perfect, just consistent. Because the moment your intention becomes unwavering, life can no longer deny you. In the next part, we will break down why the mind keeps losing focus, how distraction became the greatest enemy of modern success, and how to reclaim control over your attention in a world designed to steal it. Stay with it, don't shift. If focus is so powerful, then why is it so rare? Why do so many people know what they should do, yet still fail to do it? Why do they start strong, feel inspired, feel determined, explore, and then slowly drift back into old habits? The answer is uncomfortable, but necessary to face. Your mind was not trained for focus. It was trained for reaction. From the moment you wake up, your attention is under attack. Notifications, news, messages, opinions, drama, comparison. Your mind is constantly pulled outward. And when attention is constantly pulled outward, it loses its ability to stay inward. That's why silence feels uncomfortable. That's why boredom feels painful. That's why people avoid being alone with their thoughts. Because a distracted mind has forgotten how to stay still. Here is a truth most people don't understand. Focus is not something you suddenly have. Focus is something you build by removing noise. But modern life is built on noise. The world doesn't profit from your clarity. It profits from your confusion. It doesn't want you focused. It wants you scrolling. It doesn't want you disciplined. It wants you emotionally reactive. Because a focused individual is dangerous. A focused individual doesn't chase trends, doesn't buy impulsively, doesn't live for approval. A focused individual builds quietly and becomes unstoppable. That's why distraction is everywhere. And that's why blaming yourself alone is not enough. You must understand the system before you can break free from it. Your mind loses focus for three main reasons: overstimulation, emotional attachment, fear of discomfort. Let's break them down. 1. Overstimulation. Your brain was not designed to process endless information. Every scroll, every video, every headline. It fragments attention. When attention fragments, depth disappears. You might know a little about many things, but but master nothing. And mastery is where confidence is born. Overstimulated minds crave novelty, not progress. They want something new, not something meaningful. That's why people jump from goal to goal, idea to idea, dream to dream, never staying long enough to build anything real. 2. Emotional attachment. Most people don't lose focus because they are lazy. They lose focus because they are emotionally undisciplined. They work when they feel good. They stop when they feel bad. They commit when it's exciting. They quit when it's boring. But goals don't respond to emotions. Goals respond to behavior repeated over time. Your feelings are temporary, your actions compound. And when emotions control direction, direction becomes unstable. That's why emotional control is not optional, it's foundational. 3. Fear of discomfort. Focus requires stillness. Stillness reveals weakness. When you stay with one goal long enough, you will face doubt, fear, self-criticism, impatience. Most people run at this stage. They change goals not because the goal is wrong, but because staying exposes their inner resistance. So they distract themselves. New plans, new dreams, new excuses, and the cycle continues. Here's the hard truth. Distraction is often a form of escape. Escape from responsibility, escape from self-confrontation, escape from the discomfort of growth, but growth demands pressure, and pressure demands focus. This is why focus feels heavy at first. It's not because you're incapable. It's because your mind has been conditioned to avoid sustained effort. But the moment you stop running, something changes. Let me tell you something powerful. When you stop switching paths, your mind begins to reorganize itself. When you stop feeding it noise, clarity returns. When clarity returns, confidence follows. And confidence creates momentum. This is not philosophy. This is how the human system works. Most people underestimate how much power they already have. They are not weak. They are just leaking energy. Once energy stops leaking, strength becomes visible. Here's a shift that changes everything. Stop asking, how do I stay motivated? Start asking, what is stealing my attention? Motivation is fragile. Attention is structural. Remove distractions. Focus appears naturally. If you truly want to reclaim focus, you must be willing to do what most people refuse to do. Be bored. Be alone. Be consistent without applause. Be disciplined when emotions resist. This is the price. And yes, most people will not pay it. That's why most people stay average. But if you are listening to this, it means something inside you is waking up. A part of you that is tired of drifting, tired of starting over, tired of wasting years. That part is not asking for motivation. It's asking for direction. In the next part, we will talk about how to lock your focus onto one goal, how to build discipline without burning out, and how to become unshakable in a world designed to break your attention. This is where focus becomes a weapon. Don't rush, don't skip, stay here. Because the moment you reclaim control over your attention, you reclaim control over your life. At some point in your life, you must stop searching and start committing, not halfway, not emotionally, not when it feels good, fully. Because clarity without commitment is just another form of procrastination. And commitment is what turns focus into an unstoppable force. Here is the mistake most people make. They try to focus forever. That idea alone overwhelms them, so they quit before they even begin. But focus is not about forever. Focus is about today, then tomorrow, then the next day. One decision repeated. That's how unbreakable lives are built. Let me give you a rule that changes everything. One goal. One season. No negotiation. Pick one direction. One priority. One outcome that matters more than the rest. Not 10. Not 5. 1. Then remove everything that doesn't serve it. Not later. Not gradually. Now. Because every unnecessary option is a potential distraction, and distractions kill momentum. You don't need more time. You need fewer choices. The more options you keep, the weaker your focus becomes. Power comes from elimination. This is what locking in focus looks like in real life. You wake up knowing exactly what matters today. You don't ask, what do I feel like doing? You ask, what moves my goal forward? And then you act regardless of mood, yes, and that's discipline, and discipline is freedom. Let me be clear, you will not feel balanced at first. When you cut distractions, your mind will panic. It will tell you you're missing out, that you're being too extreme, that you deserve a break. Ignore it. That voice is the old system trying to survive. Stay still. Because something powerful happens after sustained focus, your identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You become someone who executes. Your self-respect increases. Your confidence stabilizes. Not because life became easy, but because you became reliable. Here's the truth nobody talks about. Focus builds self-trust. And self-trust is everything. When you trust yourself, fear loses power. Doubt quiets down, and external noise stops controlling you. That's when people start calling you disciplined, driven, different. But what they're really seeing is alignment. You don't need to announce your focus. You don't need validation. Move in silence. Let consistency speak, because results are loud. Because there will be days when progress feels invisible, days when effort feels wasted, days when quitting feels logical. Those are not signs to stop. Those are signs you're close. Because real growth happens after novelty dies. That's where most people turn back. You don't. Remember this. Average people stop when it gets boring. Focused people continue when it gets quiet. That silence is power. That boredom is where mastery forms. Stay there. Eventually, something shifts. Not overnight, not dramatically, but unmistakably. Opportunities begin to align. Skills sharpen. Momentum builds. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Your energy is no longer scattered, it's directed. And directed energy changes reality. If you're waiting for permission, this is it. If you're waiting for the right moment, this is it. Not next year, not next month, now. Let this be the line you draw. No more drifting. No more half commitment. No more excuses disguised as patience. Choose your goal, lock in, and refuse to negotiate with weakness. I'll leave you with this final truth. Your goal doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be consistent. Focus on the direction, not the distance. And one day you will look back and realize the moment you stopped being distracted was the moment everything changed. Focus on your goal, not your feelings. Not the noise, your goal. Stay locked in.